Hey everyone, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name is Josh and this is
Mark
Cranny. He's from YouBuild Creative. You guys know Mark, I don't have to introduce him, but he's got a channel on YouTube. He likes TikTok better, I don't know why, but make sure you guys head over to follow him. Mark is a custom home builder and we just happen to be in, what do you call this place, Mark? What are you calling it?
This is, I don't know.
This is a very expensive house is what it is. Oh, I got a thing on the screen I gotta take off. Okay. This is an expensive ass house is what it is. Mark, what do you have a, Mark likes to name his models after like old school jazz singers. We have Ellie, we have Fitzgerald. What are you gonna call this one?
I don't know.
Should we ask the audience?
I think we should.
You guys name it, Mark will pick it. And if you get it, Mark will send you a Green Mark Builders hat.
That sounds good
And
to
a
me.
cup, do you have the cups?
I can give some beer glasses too.
Beer glasses. So that's what you're gonna win if he chooses the name for this amazing model. We're gonna be doing some work on this in a couple weeks. I do Mark's real estate photos in 3D. We're gonna show it to you because this is literally insane how nice it is. Mark built this with his bare hands. Oh, like, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, I told you guys I was waiting to come see Mark before we did this video on Tara Henderson, where she sits down and complains about her, I wanna say probably in the hundreds of thousands. I don't think it's a million. Mark will be able to probably tell us more. But she's just basically complaining after she did a video about how amazing and how obsessed she was with everything she got. So this is gonna be a very interesting video. Mark's here as my professional custom home builder.
Yeah, and I just gotta throw a disclaimer. I don't even know who this person is. I have no idea. So.
Mark did this. We snarked on Love Meg in her new, was it Love Meg or was it someone else? And her shit didn't hit the floor, and it was really weird. And Mark didn't like it. It's the drapes
didn't hit the floor.
So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk about we're gonna go through there, and we're gonna talk to Tara and her husband. And we're gonna go through that. So let's get going. All right, because we're on site, we don't have internet, I had to use YouTube, so I have to give her a view, but she deserves it. So let's see what she has to say. So press space bar to pause it when you have something to say.
Got it.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I recruited Adam from work in the gym to sit down.
First thing, does this guy look like he wants to be here?
He wants to be a boy band manager. That's what he wants. But again, he didn't make it.
It's Ryan Phillippe if you order Ryan Phillippe off Wish. That's this guy is. He's got good hair. Mark's got good hair. I don't have good hair. I envy men's good hair. So I like his hair. He's got good hair. Parks of LA is his shirt. I don't know if that's an expensive thing. Tara's just Blanderson with weird thumbs. That's just how she goes. So if you don't know who these people are, they're just family vloggers that we make fun of.
With me to go over all the stuff you guys want to know about the house. This has been such a highly requested video on things we regret, things that we love, things that we wish we would have known. We've gotten so many house questions and you guys have been asking for this video and we're finally sitting down. And
let me point out that there's probably like 3 people who've been asking for this video, not a bunch.
And he's already bored. He's already playing with his phone.
He's like, I need to be going play video games right now.
And I gotta throw some shade at her voice. Like, I feel like I gotta like rattle the wax in my ear. Like, oh my gosh.
It's like
that's hard to listen to.
It's like grade 9 math professor teaching you like Pythagorean theorem. Her voice is terrible. Like there's not even an inflection of anything. No. There's no inflections. No. It's straight monotone.
Yeah.
But though in a marriage with her, it'd be really, really easy to just phase that out.
Oh, for
you don't have to listen.
Like I said, he's already playing with his phone.
Yeah, he's like, he already has that, his ear is trained to phase out her frequency because she only has one.
I'm filming it today. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and I feel like we just have to say like a little disclaimer. We are so grateful for this home and we are so happy here.
Before we complain for 30 minutes.
Look at his eyes.
He's like, before we complain for 30 minutes, I want a disclaimer that we bought this house with cash from exploiting our children online, from you guys who watch it. So before we complain about all the shit and like first world problems about our custom home, we really do like it here.
He's trying to remember all the bad things she told him. Right?
Oh,
look at him.
He's got that shit written down.
He's like, how do I remember that?
We're gonna have to scrub this 37-minute video of complaints. Okay. This is gonna be amazing.
Yep.
So this isn't like trying to be ungrateful or
complaining.
Okay.
Yeah. This is our first home build and we had no idea what we're doing. So
your shit's not centered. Okay, so they have a bed here, okay? Look at the space between this bedpost and this one. I'm done.
Fail.
We learned a lot along the way, and we're gonna kind of share those things with you guys. So I wrote down some things in the notes section of my phone, and then I also asked you guys over on Instagram to ask us questions. So I think we're gonna start this video with some of our regrets. So, like I said, we have kind of a long list of things that we wish we would have done, and I know a lot of you guys are building too, so you want to know these things, and I completely understand that. So some of the things that I wrote down are, and I don't know if it just depends on your builder, but I had a designer that was part of.
Can I point out that her hands are this big, dude? Just now, you're never gonna be able to unsee it. But her fingers are 12 inches long a piece, and it bugs me. Because she could probably crush your skull.
Wow.
I never can't see her hands now.
You know it's going to be good when she's throwing the air quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The building process. She didn't help me design any spaces. She was kind of just like the person I told what I wanted to.
Okay, so if you didn't hear what she said, we had a designer that helped. She didn't design it. I just told her what I wanted. What is going on in the situation?
I'll tell you what's going on in that situation.
Please.
That designer has to read her mind.
Okay.
Because she's acting like, oh, this is all me, this is all me. Well, she knows what she doesn't want more than she knows what she wants. I can already tell right away from looking at her as a client. Mm-hmm. Like, she's gonna take all the credit, but all the negative stuff is gonna get thrown down that designer.
So the designer in this situation just becomes her scapegoat. Why hire a designer if she already knows what she wants?
Because she doesn't. She's trying to make it seem like she does. The people that say that are the people that frighten me more than anybody, because they come in so strong. When they love it, they love it. When they hate it, they just sit there like a deer in headlights, and it just scares everybody around them.
So it sounds like it sounds like she hired a person to help her dreams come alive instead of hiring a designer based on that designer's skills, right? Is that, or is a designer meant to be? Do you hire, like I know you do, you hire a designer because you know. And you listen to that designer saying, okay, you know it's hot and fresh, I'll listen to you. Yeah. Here's a couple things I want, but do that. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Isn't that what a designer's for?
Well, for sure. But she's not giving the designer the credit the designer deserves. Okay. I want to see this house so then I can comment on it.
There is a video on it. It's garbage.
Okay.
And she made those things come to life. So she didn't help design anything, but she was just kind of like there.
I'd love to show this to some of my designers.
Well, maybe they hired the wrong designer.
That's
because isn't a designer literally meant to say, what do you like? Here's some ideas. Okay. She said she didn't design anything. So what do they pay her for?
So some builders, like for example, when I build like a fire restoration home, what I'll do is I bring in a designer to help me with the selection. So I don't have to sit there and chase the clients on selections. The designer knows everything.
Oh, it's your go-between.
So if they use the designer for selections only, well then.
Okay. Yeah. So they did a selection designer, not someone based. Probably wanted to chintz on a little bit of the money, right?
You save big time by going that way.
I had questions and help relay all of those things that I wanted to the builder. So
makes sense.
A lot of the things that I picked out were from a catalog or were from photos online. And I don't know if it was because of COVID, but it was hard. It was difficult to pick out finishes, to pick out lighting. I would say 70% of the lighting that I chose, I ended up not loving.
I gotta say, 70%, if you had a client walk through after they chose all their designs off magazines, and because that's basically what it is now. I don't think COVID would have changed that. They're not going to, but she said touch 70%? 70%.
Well, she couldn't touch and feel her stuff. I get it.
Do you have people that touch and feel their stuff?
Well, for sure. Going to showrooms is definitely the way to go. Like, not being able to go to showroom, that sucks. But like to me, the lighting are what I call the jewels of the home. Yep. So getting your lighting wrong destroys your entire house. Like this house, like you can see the lighting I have in here. Like, I don't know. I think we knocked it out of the park, but
I think it's great.
It's
but expensive, right?
It makes and breaks the house lighting. So I understand what you're saying.
How much is lighting in a house like this? You're willing to tell us?
Yeah, I spent like just shy of $40,000.
40,000 for lights. That's not IKEA, people. Okay.
Huge regrets. Definitely the entryway light.
And you should see it. It's like the shitty chandelier. You can get it like Walmart. It's crazy.
There, and it's kind of hard to know those things from a photo in a catalog. I know a lot of builders will take you through showrooms and have you pick out things from there. And she did take me to a showroom for lighting options, but unfortunately I didn't love anything on the showroom floor. So same thing with hardware. All of the hardware I chose from a catalog, like a book.
Okay, so this was her choice.
Yep.
She was at a showroom with a designer telling her, I would go with these options. She's not talking about that. The designer says, these work together. She probably fanned out a bunch of options. And then she's like, no, don't like that. I'm gonna do it because I'm better.
Yeah.
Right? And she's gonna go online and she obviously kiboshed all of her selections because nothing worked together because she couldn't put things together. So,
and you should see it. I wish I could show you. I wish we had time to show you. But her walkthrough, actually maybe we should do it separately in another day because I want to know I honestly, because I know you and you take me through houses. I've seen what you do. I'm not saying I'm a professional, but I feel like when you watch the walkthrough of this house, you're going to be like, what did you do? That's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And then when those pieces come in and you see them and touch them in person, they're not exactly what you thought they were going to be. And then you're kind of stuck with them at that point. You can't.
So I got to point out, she's lying here because when she did her walkthrough of the completed house, she was saying how obsessed she was and how she loved everything and now not 2 months later, she's like, oh yeah, it was all bad. So she's just straight up lying. That's a lie.
Change your mind because they're already ordered. So that was difficult for me because I'm such a visual person and I have to see and touch things and see them in person. And so picking out really expensive things for our forever home was difficult. And I don't know if that's just how our builder does it.
Does it have to be expensive things to be good?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I do feel that to have that level, that rich feel, you have to spend money.
Okay.
People that say, oh, I can get that look without spending, I have one designer that I can use. We can do an entire house off IKEA, blows people's minds, but it doesn't have that rich feel.
Yeah,
I would disagree. You have to spend to get the look. Yeah.
Sweet.
But I regret a lot of the lighting, the door handles. They're very bright yellow, and you didn't look that way online. So that's a difficult change, but that's something that we definitely want to fix. They're pretty yellow gold.
Look at his face. He's like
gold.
So the outside of the house, I guess a lot of big communities, they have cookie cutter landscape. Oh, that's the word. Whatever the house.
What's the word he's looking for?
Streets, you have to have a streetscape that fits a certain profile. So then all the houses tie in together, right? It's a streetscape.
And they wanted to go against that.
So yeah, they wanted to kind of go, hey, let's go outside of the box, whatever, and completely kibosh the streetscape that's going on. I haven't seen their house. I don't know, but
I'll show you.
The house is supposed to look like from the outside. Most of them are kind of standard, but our house, we had an architect who custom designed everything. We could have made the house look basically however we wanted on the outside, as long as it wasn't something crazy, the pillars we added after the fact.
They added pillars after.
I just wish that we could have received a better rendering of the outside of the house so that we could change things,
So he didn't get a good rendering. Whose fault is that?
Well, if he was worried about how things were going, it looks to me like they're showing concern.
Yep.
They should have reached out to their builder and say, hey, we'd really like to dial in the exterior. But instead, they were probably overwhelmed and they just decided to keep going. Maybe the builder should have recognized that, but if you're going to throw the builder under the bus, there's 1,000 things you could throw the builder under the bus for. You weren't confident in your exterior, and when it was done, you weren't happy. That's what I would say.
Yep. Is that something that you have to fix as a builder, or are you just sorry, you signed off on it?
Well, if it repels water, stops it, if it does what it's supposed to do, and it's installed correctly, that's not on the builder, that's on them.
The curvature of the windows and some of what are those shutters?
Yeah, so when you get your plan from your architect, that plan is exactly how it's going to look. So if you don't like the smallest little detail in it, you have to speak up and make that known, or else it won't get done. And so we kind of thought it was just kind of a guide. And we're going to get asked.
This is the funniest part about this. We just thought they would read our minds, and they didn't.
You think you're going to frame your whole house and then say, let's change the windows. No, the windows are ordered before you even start the house. Like that's the first thing you order.
This is why I still get him Mark on, because he's seeing these red flags. Like, you think you could just change literally the structure of the entire house after it's framed, which you can't.
No.
Windows are, before you do anything, windows are ordered.
That's right. Because I'm not sure how they finance their home, but the first draw, it generally comes at what we call here in Canada as airtight, right? So that's the house is framed up, you've got your Typar on your wall, Tyvek, whatever, you got your roof on and windows in. That's your first draw. You have to achieve that. So you do everything you can to achieve that.
Okay.
So what do you think? You're going to frame the house and change all the windows and think they're all going to still come in and everything's going to work? Absolutely not.
It's because he's trying to hold in the lies. Because it's so ridiculous what they're saying here is what Mark is saying.
Later on in the process, so what do you want to do here? Or
yeah, I thought it was like a draft. Like, hey, this is the first draft. Obviously, it's going to change because, like, that's what you build the house is. Nothing to change. But
so what I'm your face is great. So I could just imagine the conversation with their builder. Imagine a client came up to you, Mark, after you've got the shit done. I thought that was just a draft. What would you even say at that point? I mean, I feel like some of this is on that builder for not setting their expectations properly. Because they honestly thought that was a draft while they're building it?
Yeah, so the way their roof system's designed, the way their drip edges are flashing, it's all on your plan. So the way it's drawn is it's to repel water and keep air out. And like, what are you gonna do? Just say, oh no, I know it's drawn like that, but we're gonna build a complete different
because
system.
it has to be.
Change that design, you change the system.
How much are you paying someone to design a house inside of CAD or whatever so that it's, because you can't just change that.
No.
That is designed so that it fits everywhere else with the house, right?
For sure.
And that's expensive.
Oh, to redo just like the front elevation drawing on the house, it's not just the front elevation drawing. That goes into every single page that affects that. It's huge. Like,
was it a custom house that they said is custom, no one else has their house? What does plans like that cost from a professional?
Well, like, I don't know the square footage of, like,
it looks like it's about 2,300, 2,500 square feet.
Yeah, two-story. I would probably charge someone like Canadian, like between like 15 and 20,000
for plans. And so when you have to change those plans,
yeah, but that's not even with architect. Like, that's not even bringing. That's a draftsman. If you want to bring architects in, it's a different.
Way more.
Oh yeah.
Apparently not. Like, what was done during like the first meeting or that we kind of finalized things.
Do these guys not own Google? Like, just go in your Google search window. How to build a custom home. What are questions I should ask? Are you
they got to have
me?
people in their lives that have built one.
You're not asking any questions. They're lying. They're not being honest.
She got 700,000 subscribers. She couldn't reach out to any of her. Hey, subscribers out there have built a custom home. I'm sure she had one or two in her 700,000 subscribers that would know more. They're just, again,
they're not being honest.
They're not being honest. You're right.
No.
Things. There wasn't a lot of room to move things around after that meeting, and that was before there was even concrete.
Yeah, so for example, shutters, like I wanted shutters on our windows. We didn't know whether or not to express that at that red line meeting, or if they were gonna bring it up, 2-3 weeks from now, hey, do you want so-and-so? This was our first time doing this, so we didn't know when these questions were gonna get brought up, so if you don't think of these things on your own, they're never gonna get brought up. They're never gonna ask you along the process.
Are they really not gonna ask you?
Exactly what you.
So inside their build contract, which they will never release, there's times and dates and like when critical decisions need to be made. That's in every builder's contract. Okay. Every fixed price builder. If you've got just like a GC running your job that just spends as you have the money and whatever, that's different. It doesn't sound like you have that scenario. It would have been laid out in their contract. Structural changes need to be by this date. Facade, whatever, by this date. Interior, kitchen design, this date.
So it sounds like they just didn't read the shit.
So they're not honoring their contract, and now they're upset at their contractor. They did not read their contract, or they did read their contract, and they thought, oh, well, this is a young builder, whatever, he'll work with us. No, during COVID especially, you cannot screw around.
Is there a difference between, now, have you ever built a home for somebody who has already had 1 or 2 custom home builds?
Absolutely.
Are they better?
No.
They're worse.
Well, their expectations are higher. They know more of what they want, so I wouldn't say they're better.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you want up front, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. So that was something that we definitely learned and wish we would have learned sooner, for sure, because there's a lot of add-ons that we did later on in the process.
And if you don't have to add things on, it makes it easier because you have an accurate price for what everything's going to cost. Because anything after...
So it sounds like they're saying we added stuff on later, and they cost us more. Well, that didn't sound like you put that in your original plan then.
Absolutely not. Like, extras, that's where the builders make their money, and if you haven't researched to find that out, then it's disappointing. You know, I'm disappointed for them, you know.
The contract is in addition to whatever the contract was for. So we had a bunch of add-ons for things like cabinets and the outside windows and stuff. Like the shutters, like to me, the shutters, you wouldn't talk about shutters until you're like, I don't know, about ready to put them on.
Shutters should be free, dude.
That's like something you don't.
Mark says shutters should be free. What?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I like the way he's thinking is, well, you know, it's just shutters, just whatever. Like if it's they're custom bent out of aluminum, what if you got to send it to some manufacturing facility to have it made, color matched to whatever your finish is? Are you kidding me? Like that has to be done and ordered with your siding. So if you
generally, what he's talking about too is they're decorative. They're generally not real shutters. Real shutters aren't really a thing, right? They're just like they look like a shutter.
That's right.
Okay.
Bring it up right away
before even concrete's poured.
But I get that they have to price this stuff out. So
yeah, we understand now, but like I said, this was our first time, and so we just didn't know when to say these things, when to ask questions, because we thought it was kind of their responsibility to be asking us certain things.
I'm gonna fast forward because we're not even get to the people's questions.
So we did sconces and cut out a space for a full-size washer.
I want to see that bathroom.
Okay.
I mean, it's a first world problem, and we totally understand that. But if we could help someone else out there that's building, that is wanting this, just make sure that they account for a big enough walkway to get that washer and dryer in, because
they didn't have space to bring in their stuff.
We had to have our trim work person.
Yeah, we had to cut it out and
cut out trim.
That's
another
the
big
architect's
regret was the carpet that I chose.
Oh, you'll like this.
It's very absorbent, and I honestly wish we just would have done all hardwood floors. We did only carpet in the kids' rooms, and as you guys can see here in this footage, it shows every little mark, and we do not wear shoes in the rooms. I don't know what it is about this carpet. I did not do my research clearly, and obviously it's a lighter carpet, but we had this color carpet in our last house, and it did not show this many footprints. So
did she just get a shitty carpet?
She probably didn't Scotch guard her carpet for one, but do
you ever tell anybody to get carpet?
So if a customer wants carpet in the kids' rooms, generally what I tell them is I say, look, why don't we let the hardwood run through, and we'll do an area rug, an oversized area rug with a pad on it, right? So you can still kind of get the best of both worlds, because you're going to want to upgrade that eventually, right?
Smart. So that's it. If you're out there building a house, get custom hardwood all through it anyway, then throw a carpet down. Because you can get a carpet down put over top. That's generally right.
Well, I would just do an area rug, and I would size it to the room. But yeah, you're going to spend a few dollars, but like you got her problem.
In the end, you could pull that carpet up, and you've got that hardwood. You wouldn't have to pay someone to come and do hardwood.
That's right.
See, Mark knows his onions.
We're going to eventually rip it out, hopefully within the next month or so.
They've only been there like a year.
Hardwood.
They're going to rip carpet
everywhere. So definitely do your research on carpet, because we haven't even been here 6 months, and it's already. It looks awful.
Yeah, I think it was primarily because it's...
Maybe just vacuum more? I don't know.
Fibrous.
Yeah, an architectural mistake was...
Hey, carpet's fibrous, everybody.
Is the mirrors and the vanities, or the sinks, in some of the bathrooms don't line up properly, so the mirrors are offset. So
does this bug you? I couldn't wait for Mark to see this. Does that not bug you?
That's not right. Like, I can't even.
You would never deliver a house like that.
No. If I would throw my hammer through that mirror before I would let that.
The issue I think is because she's got sconces that don't allow for them to change it. So at that point, I think custom mirrors would be called for, so that you could center them over the sink. Look at that.
The big girls' bathrooms, and
they're tight this way.
Didn't account for.
I wish I could see
the sconces, basically.
I think
a photo of that.
And they didn't. But what they could have done, and You know, unless there's a sconce in the middle, they can't. So if let's say there's a sconce in the middle, could you not just get a custom mirror that spans the whole thing and then cut out for the sconce?
Yeah, but they were trying to get this hexagonal or whatever look that they thought looked
That
good.
was terrible.
Oh, that was a fail.
The issue was the architect put cabinetry in there, or assumed what we were going to put in there. And then when we decided against what those assumptions were, they just didn't change the drawings. So they were essentially,
They didn't read the mind.
Planning
That's right.
and building everything around cabinetry that was no longer the same as what
That doesn't make any sense to me.
It does.
It does make sense
It
to me?
does make sense because the electrical drawings are all done based on whatever is drawn in the plans. So they went and changed the cabinetry drawings, and they, like, I assume it was well on into the build when the electrical was done already. They probably made those changes, and they just thought that everything was going to work out. Well, it doesn't work out.
No. Clearly. Look how happy they are.
I throw some shade at the builder on that one a little bit, but not completely.
the drawings were. So maybe it was wider, maybe it was smaller, maybe the biggest problem was our sinks were not centered, our sinks were offset to the left or right. So the fact that those weren't in the drawings caused issues with the sconces and the mirrors.
And it also, so that cabinetry that they included in those floor plans don't account for sconces. So you have to know going into your red line meeting, before concrete's even poured, this is like your first meeting, that you want to have sconces in your bathrooms. And
can we just stop doing sconces? Like, they look good here. Those sconces are gorgeous in a kitchen, right? In a kid's bathroom? Come on.
I know. It's a lot more work for the builder.
Yeah.
A lot more work.
But do a lot of people do sconces now?
Oh, yeah.
I know this Mark's, oh yeah. This is Mark's like, yeah.
that is not something that I thought to bring up at this very first meeting. So again, it's just a miscommunication. And it's unfortunate because that's not something that we can fix. And
Can't fix that? What's your solution? They call you up, Mark, what's the solution to fix this problem? What are you gonna do? You tearing up the sinks?
Well, you're ripping up everything behind the sinks, like in that back wall. You're doing rewiring. Like, I've done it many times.
30 grand.
No, it's just drywall and patching and whatever.
Yeah.
But the problem is if the wire's too short to go to where you need to, then it's retracing everything back, and like it's
just
a
a
huge
pain in the ass.
huge job, right?
Okay.
So, but you know, the fact that they didn't go and fix that when they noticed the problem, like they just lived with it. Like, to me, that's on them.
Yep.
And it's a very small, minor thing, but I mean, it is something that's pretty frustrating. But if we could have someone out there with the same problem that we faced, definitely make sure you account for if you want to do sconces so that your mirrors line up properly. Okay, our countertops.
Open your camera angle. Here's the solution. Don't put sconces in. Are sconces gonna be out soon, or are they just fresh right now? Is that why?
Sconces are, it's very nice. I don't know if they're going to be out or not. Everybody seems to be doing them.
All right.
So.
Our kitchen. So this is a big regret that I had. We did quartz in there, and I just don't like the quartz that I chose. I don't really like the veining to it. I really wanted marble. We have marble everywhere else in our, all our bathrooms have marble. And I love
What's the difference in price between marble and quartz?
Well, it depends on the grade, depends what you're getting. Where we are, it's not really much different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how is she going to sit there, she chose the marble, the granite, whatever she says, and then she gets it and she doesn't like it anymore. How often does that happen?
It's because she wasn't working with her designer. She did it herself.
Tara.
Had she had her designer more involved, I don't think she would have had that issue.
Okay.
Right?
all of our bathrooms are like my favorite part of our house. But I got talked out of doing marble, and I wish I just would have stuck with what I wanted, because the veining in our quartz is not, I don't know, I just don't love it. There's like speckles to certain parts, and I just don't think it looks very good.
Of all the problems you have, you don't like veining in quartz? That's what you're going to complain about? Veining in quartz.
That's the feature of that quartz there. So
I'm looking at Mark's. What is this?
That's actually granite.
That's granite. It's gorgeous. Good veining choice.
Yes.
Good. But that's something that I could have
I like it.
done differently.
Let me point out this stove here. This is why I throw a lot of shade at her. Well, let's take a look here for a second. That stove is $14,000. Okay, is that about what? That's a good stove, right?
Yeah.
That's what Sloan, and I also think that she spent her PPP loan that she got for $14,000. She bought that with a PPP loan. That's conjecture, but that's what they took the amount out for, and that's how much that range was.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? So we're taking a look at this photo. I made fun of them for, and I wish I would have brought you on for this. Their gold hardware to me seems icky. It just does not work here at all. The bubbling, the bobbling, everything else, it just doesn't look like it fits with the modern. They went really like before vintage. They went with like 1890 faucets with a modern look. I don't like do you like that?
I'm not a fan of it, but I'm more of an industrial sort of look is my preference.
You should see the hardware that Mark chose for this house and like the black doors. I'm gonna take you on a little trip around afterwards. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna walk through with Mark about how you're supposed to do this shit. Cool?
I went to the slab yard and I'm the one that chose that. I just wish I would have done marble. Another regret is our windows right here. I'll insert some footage because it's behind you guys. We're in our master bedroom right now, and our windows were placed here because we initially thought we were gonna have our bed on this wall. But it didn't work out because when you walk in, you would be walking straight into a bed. And so I wish we would have done windows on this back wall, but we couldn't because that back wall leads up to our master closet.
Okay, so I'm really starting to come to a conclusion that the architects that they chose were, I'm gonna say, maybe a little bit more of a value architect or somebody that was early in their career.
Yeah.
Because architects are generally like expert space planners, and
they'd tell them right away, hey, don't do that. You won't be able to put your bed there because you're walking into your bed.
So they have like basically these checklists they go for each room, like based on the square footage of the house. Your master bedroom should be, it's all like it comes down to ratios and how the flow of the house.
Of thirds, right?
That's right, and how the house flows. So if the architect did his or her job, like that's number one for them. So I think that they came in and said, no, I know that this is how you normally do it, but this is what I want. So I'm assuming that's what happened because the architect would probably fought them on that one.
Would you not prefer windows at the other side though?
I generally put the bedding as well with windows.
So again, they had this thing and then they put their bed there and they realized, whoops. So Mark's saying discount. You know, they ordered their guy off Wish.
or they fought with the architect and he said, okay, fine, do it the way you want.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what happened.
But these windows, you can see straight through to our kitchen.
Ew. No? It's your backyard. That's terrible.
That is terrible.
You shouldn't have put windows there.
I would have put frosted.
Yeah, there's no privacy.
Section.
What if you want to get it on and you have neighbors around?
Seriously?
Kitchen. And you can see outside right now to our back patio, and obviously it's not like furnished at all. So there's like a bunch of clutter and it kind of drives me crazy. And I don't like
You can see the backyard clutter. That's crazy.
Wow.
Why would you put your bed facing? This is her fault. That's 100% her fault.
You can see straight into our living room and our kitchen. So.
Did she take credit for the design of this house too?
Yeah, I mean, I think she.
She
said right at the beginning. She says, I wanted to do this, this, and this, and my designer was my go-between, my builder. That's all she was. She said, I want this. Go tell him.
Yeah, but the architect that drew this thing probably was given a plan.
Yeah.
And he drew what she designed.
Yeah.
And probably made a bunch of suggestions, and it probably went to deaf ears.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But I keep throwing her under the bus. I really have to see the contract.
It's her.
To see.
I would totally do away with these windows and try and.
We also can't sit here and not, and I know she already said this, but the shit that she's complaining about in the real world of things, mind blowing that they chose to put this out as content.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing. With all the things except for that damn bathroom and the off-centered of the sinks, like I get that, but the rest is just like her taste didn't match with what she had in her brain.
Yeah.
Figure our floor plan differently to have our windows.
No color anywhere, by the way. They're not allowed to wear color, neither of their kids.
I know a lot of builders will do a 3D rendering for you, which is so helpful for like visual people like us.
Okay, if they don't have any 3D renderings and they hired an architect, I'm calling their bluff on this because That's not the case. They hired a draftsman or draftswoman to do this, and they didn't pay for the service. Because when you hire top level architects, like in our city, you know, like we've got some of the, you know, the elites, you know, in our city, Barry Hoban, Chris Simmons, whatever, like they're giving a full package. You're seeing your home. Like, this is crazy. This is a discount deal for sure.
100%.
For sure.
Or you can hire someone to do it for you.
Even if they had like a service where you could pay for it, I think it would be worth it.
Oh, for sure.
What do you think, Mark?
Your draftsman has the ability to do that.
You could just export it from the program he's using.
You just ask for it, right?
Because are they using CAD generally?
Yeah,
So, or SketchUp or whatever, they can put it into a program, and they can actually, there's probably a button, render this out, and they can do it for them. It should cost them something. They got cheap on it. It's a Why
discount.
didn't they? I totally would have wanted to do that.
These guys went with the cheapest bid. Yeah. They went with the cheapest architect, the cheapest builder. Well, I don't want to throw this builder under the bus. I think she.
They have more wainscoting in this house than Queen of England, by the way.
Wow.
Everything is wainscoted.
Yeah. It doesn't take a long time. Like, I did our house in probably a couple hours, like once I actually figured out how to do it. So if I
He did it himself.
The wainscoting?
No, the 3D rendering.
Oh.
He got the plans and he did it himself through SketchUp or something.
Right.
For sure.
And it helps to give you a perspective that you wouldn't otherwise have until it's actually built.
Yeah, so he did do that, but I didn't realize until we were in the house that you can see through, even with the 3D rendering. So this is something that I wouldn't have known until we were actually in the house.
Like the bed issue, that I had it on there.
Yeah,
put a blind up.
Really,
just put a blind up. Or you said frost the windows, right?
Yeah.
it was going to be that big of an issue walking into a bed, but then...
So that was the one thing she wanted, was when I opened the door, I want to see the bed. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Bed's going to go right here.
Yeah.
And when we put it there, she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, oh, great.
So,
he's not happy with that.
It's supposed to be where our frame TV goes, so there's an outlet behind that picture frame, which drove me crazy. We just hung those frames up, and we're covering the outlet now, so it makes me so much happier when I look.
I feel like, okay, so who cares if you open your door and your bed's there? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who is going in your room? It's your room. You're not bringing guests into your room and say, look at this. No one gives a shit about your bedroom. It should just be your oasis. So whatever you think, if that's where it's supposed to go, what does it matter where the bed lands? People who complain about these types of things boggle the mind to me.
But it's likely because the space planning wasn't set up. The bed was probably right there, and she probably only had 3 feet from the door to the bed or something like that, and it probably was weird.
If you go to the master bedroom here, and we'll show it to you. Mark did it perfectly. You walk into the room, and the bed's on the opposite side of the freaking room. It's where it's supposed to be. These people got bad... I don't know, man. I think it's a mix of everybody's fault here.
Over in this area, but our TV was supposed to go on this wall, and our bed was going to be on this wall, but we flipped it. Okay.
Next subject.
The gym door. If you plan on doing a gym and you have young kids, I would definitely ask to put a lock on that door, because we have obviously locks on all of our bathroom doors. I wish we would have. Do we have a lock on my office? We don't.
No, we wish we would have.
On the office, I wish.
Okay, just go to Home Depot and buy locks. What the hell's wrong?
Yeah.
Just go get different doorknobs. That's a stupid complaint.
$50.
50 bucks.
Come on.
You can do it yourself.
We would have done a lock and on the gym for sure, because we have a ton of like heavy equipment.
It just shows you how incompetent they are.
Yeah.
Like for just everyday simple things. Anyway, sorry, man.
Would you put a lock on a gym door?
So we have to just be very careful with the kids. And we tried literally every child lock you can think of, and it doesn't work with that door that we chose.
Ew, the hardware is yellow and nasty. She's right. It's like, ew, it's like Sesame Street gold. Ew, I don't like it.
If they would have did black doors, that would have looked
Oh, that would
really
have been
nice.
sex.
A reeded door where it's like wavy and it's
I don't like that glass.
frosted.
Do you like that?
The issue that causes so that it would work for
The door is really thick.
Yeah, that and like the waves of the glass doesn't allow stuff to stick to it.
Are they
the
complaining about the glass?
That you stick to like the actual door, and it kind of like locks in when you shut it. It doesn't fit around the door because our doors are so thick. So
Let me stop you there. Mark and I are both dads. We like our kids. I have a gym in my house. Mark's doesn't. He's never there. But hear me out. Why do you want to lock your kids out? Sorry, these people sound to me like they're sounding like they really want their privacy from their children, and it's like a big deal for them.
Considering they build a platform off their children.
Yeah, and exactly. That's and aside from the build and everything else, that's something really important here. That they're complaining about. I can't get away from my kids and lock them out from where I am. That struck me right there. That struck me.
So that one doesn't work. The ones that you stick onto the door don't work.
Okay, we get it. Just go get different doorknobs, lady. You don't even like your doorknobs.
What's it called? A keypad. We're gonna get a keypad for it, but if you can avoid that and obviously just get a lock, it would be so much easier.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any other regrets? You have a big list. Your list's longer than mine.
Oh, babe, come on. The driveway.
Oh, yeah.
It's driving me nuts. So, even my dad brought this up when we got here, was how narrow the driveway is. And it's actually not anybody's fault.
Hold on. Let me make sure we're good here. Okay. So it's not anybody's fault. Let's start there. It's not anybody's fault.
The HOA here just doesn't allow for driveways wider than 12 feet.
Let me stop you there. Stop moving to places with HOAs. Stop it. Stop it. Do you ever build in an HOA? Have you ever done it?
I build lots of them.
And they hate it?
No, like you just have to appeal them and you have to come up with a plan for them. And generally, if you're showing them something that is very nice, and generally they accept it.
Right.
And it wouldn't be a massive problem normally, but since our driveway's so long, it's just like super easy to like drive in the grass. It's just like, and it's really tight to get into the garage and get out of the garage. It's really tight. So I wish we could have made our driveway like a little longer and a little wider, but some of that stuff's kind of out of our control.
So why are you complaining about it?
Over a lot on paint, but that's something that I would recommend if you have kids. We did eggshell on all of our walls and all of our cabinetry, and it's a lot easier to maintain with kids. It doesn't show every little fingerprint.
How about not paint everything beige and white? Everything. Like, I know that's Mark's. In a house full of kids, you have a house full of kids. When you build your house, will it all be white?
No.
You usually do feature walls and really cool shit
I'll do stuff like that. But my next house is likely going to be a lot of white. It's just simple. You let your other items be the thing that makes it pop instead of the paint color. So
they have zero color in this house, by the way. It's her aesthetic.
It's going to disappoint you when you walk through this place. There's zero color in this house too.
I like this house. Not gonna lie. It's more industrial though, so it fits it.
Right.
This is more like they got wainscoting and it's all white.
Because it has like a really high gloss to it.
No, it doesn't. That would be high gloss.
For cabinetry when it comes to the inlay. That is such a
Oh, that's something I love. I love the inlay.
I absolutely hate it. Such a
beef.
We got
beef.
Out. A lot of them were like wonky at first, but now they're all fine.
Yeah, so basically, your cabinetry fits inside a groove. It fits in a groove that's cut, predetermined groove. So, but say you put something super heavy in it, and then it pushes it down, and you try to close it, it's not going to fit in the groove because it's too heavy. But the issue is if they adjust it for that weight, it'll fit. But then if you take that item out, it'll then bounce back up.
I don't understand what he's saying. What's he saying?
So he's talking about boxes that are stacked on top of other boxes, and that basically the cabinets have been trimmed out so the doors fit inside. That's what I've done. That's what I've done here on all this, right? I did not trim off the bottom portions of them because I don't like dealing with that problem. But like basically he can just beef up inside of his cabinets by adding another layer of melamine or plywood or whatever.
So it doesn't bow out.
Yeah, so you just add another layer in, so then the door closes in front of that layer. You don't see it unless the door's open. Okay. It's a simple fix.
At the top. So honestly, I think that I would have rather just did like full outlay or whatever it's called.
Yeah, we did all inlay.
Just so boring.
Kill me. So we had to restart, so hopefully
Thank God.
This all makes sense. But a question that I saw often on the Q&A that I did on Instagram.
Okay, we'll stop there. She's going to her Q&A now. Her fans are asking questions now, which we'll save for the second video.
Okay.
So overall so far, that's the homeowner's complaints. That's what they have. Is that generally standard, or what complaints are you generally getting after you do a custom build? Let me preface this, Mark. I know Mark. Mark this is like what he says, and he always does this. He's like, he asks you what your dreams are, he makes them come alive. And then he'll add, that's awesome, and this. Not, that's awesome, try this. He's awesome, and this.
Yeah.
So do you generally get these types of complaints?
Yeah, like I think their biggest complaint is they wanted their house to evolve. They wanted to be able to, you know, let it become something more beautiful than what was in the original plans. And you can do that. My clients, for the most part, that's what I do. But unfortunately for them, it sounds like they're in, I don't want to say a tract home community, but it sounds like they're very restricted to what they could do. And the builder basically had to lay out everything for the HOA, and they just didn't have the ability, probably where they were, to do what they wanted to do. So I would say their location held them back from being able to do what they wanted.
Yeah. So, but overall, the complaints, most of them are just kind of surface level. They have to live with them.
Yeah.
They're pulling carpet out at 8 months. Seems like really expensive to me. There's going to be some pretty expensive fixes, but not. It's not on the builder to do that because they just missed marks.
That's it. That was their selections. So terrible. If I was building a house for them, I would have picked up on that early and said, okay, so, you know, like, it sounds to me like, you know, you guys want to spend another $150,000, whatever it is. And if that's what we want to do, let's put a big pause on right now.
Okay.
We're just going to stop and we're going to sort this stuff out. And if it, like, I'm guessing from what I can read from them, they would go, no, we don't want to spend that kind of money. We don't, and they would just progress the job. And you kind of force them to make a decision to say, you know what, we're going to be happy with what we have. And now they're not happy with what they have, but they didn't choose to spend that kind of premium dollars.
I mean, money will fix it all. Especially in anything custom home building, money fixes all.
Yeah.
There is one thing that money will do in this is like, if you have endless supply of money, you will get endless supply of fixes and changes until you're happy.
Yeah.
Which I imagine you do with your expensive houses.
For sure. They had a fixed closing date, whatever. The builder likely looked at those mirrors and said, you know, hey, we can change all that. It's going to cost you X amount of dollars, but you're not going to make your closing date. We're going to have to add 2-3 weeks onto your, you know, to your closing. And they're probably like, no, we don't want to do that.
We'll fix it after.
And so, but they're not vocalizing that.
Interesting. Guys, it's not really snarky, but this is actually super interesting to people who want to build homes or understand that Tara is doing this video in order to say, don't do what we did, but Mark's actually telling you what to do, and that's really sweet. So tomorrow, part 2 on Tara Henderson's problematic home issues, and then we're going to walk you through Mark's house, because it's a flex.
It's not done.
It's not done. He's still working on it, but I want to show you guys what Mark does, because he's a legit, and it's going to be fun. And you like looking at Mark. Look how hot he is. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take a deep breath, everybody. You're beautiful, kind, intelligent, and you know, if you're gonna build a custom home, just hire Mark, okay? Fly out wherever you need to go. It's gonna be expensive though, so whatever. But hire him so I can go with him.
I always like when you say that you look good in those jeans or whatever you say.
No, not me. You're people. You look good in those jeans, everybody. But again, you're valuable. Don't ever forget it, and we will see you tomorrow.
Sounds good.